Live from Armory Studios in Central Florida, you're listening to Weapons Hot, a New York broadcast on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. All gas, no break. And now, Jimmy and halfway, boys. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I am your host, CJ the Painkiller D. Simone, and I will be your pilot tonight. And as you can see, my squadron is in attendance 100%. So let's kick off real quick. Put your hands together for the master, Mr. Kevin Jackson.
Man. What up, Kevin?
And not to be outdone, ladies and gentlemen, from his top secret bunker over there in Idaho, put your hands together for the Reaper Jardine.
What's up, everybody?
And gentlemen, not to be outdone, we have a very special guest here joining us tonight. Please
Awesome.
Put your hands together for from the Hit List Show, Mr. Declan Krogman.
I love it. Thank you. I should have picked an intro song.
With Spotty.
I'd clap, but I have to hold my phone.
Don't worry, we'll get you next.
Gonna get your holder. What's good?
Going on, we'll start with Kevin. Also, then we'll swing to Jimmy, and then we'll swing to our special guest host, Declan. Talk to me. What's going on, boys?
My man. Work and school is kind of, it's kind of got us running. I'll be honest with you. I'm extremely frustrated with the distraction that I normally undertake in my downtime. But I'm sure we'll discuss that in detail here coming up soon. It's good to see you guys, man. It's been a while since we've all been back. You guys look good. Look, I'm really excited about our guests. I always say this, man. CJ, you do an awesome job of bringing folks in, really intelligent folks that actually do bring stuff to the conversation, right? So
100%.
Looks like
how much did he pay you to say that?
Come on, Declan, you already know. I'm gonna show you love that I know that you've earned. Look, I'm ready to get it in. I'm ready to get it in. I'm glad you're here. Let's go.
Thanks, man. Always happy to be back. Spotty knows he's always been my favorite. No offense.
Reaper, what's going on, man?
What's up, everybody? I'm happy to have Declan here as well. Maybe I'll say I can be a second or third favorite. I'm happy with that. That's fine.
You're all equal favorites.
But real talk, Declan, Kevin goes above and beyond in the hype man role. There is nobody better in this game than Kevin Jackson on the hype role, man. For real.
Seriously, man.
I'm doing good, man. We had a rough night last night, but hey, I'm about to unload on something because I'm absolutely tired of some of the Jets group comments and posts that I'm seeing. So I'm locked and loaded, CJ. I'm locked and loaded. By the way, CJ, excellent job on NEZ being green yesterday. Their little live stream, that was an awesome run. All the guys, as usual, doing really well.
Yeah, man.
But I got a bone to pick with you tonight, man, on some of the things you were saying.
I was going to leave him alone, Jim. I was going to leave him alone. I love CJ, but yeah, look, we're gonna have to have a talk.
Listen, we got After Dark coming up tonight, the unfiltered version, starting at
Oh,
9:15 on
I'll save it then.
YouTube.com. That is
I'll
gonna
save
be a
it then.
blast.
You already know,
Yeah,
Emphasis
save-
on
gotta save
unfiltered.
right?
the bullets for that. Exactly. So, really quick, what I want to do is I want to show everybody this really, really cool mug that I got. I actually got this from one of the airmen that I work with over at Patrick Sat Pharmacy.
Nice.
Her name is Airman First Class, I believe, Natasha Lesh. She actually hand painted this for me. It was cool. So I wanted to show this off to everybody. Thank you again, Nat, for doing it. And not to be outdone, somebody very special has a birthday today, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Somebody very, very special has a birthday.
Odell?
I know
All right,
one
and do
birthday
you know
that
who
was
it
today.
is?
I know someone.
You guys see my flag right over here.
That's what I was talking
All right?
about.
You see my
Okay.
flag right there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There you go.
Whose birthday is it?
Shout out to Mr. Birthday to my boy. You a kick-ass day and have some fun. All right. So
Well,
that being
CJ's lagging out a little bit, but I think he was
Dude,
talking
it has
about
been
El
a
Chapo,
minute since you have been
Eddie
on the show.
Delgado.
Yep.
Just had to clear it up. Just had to clear it up. There's a little bit of a lag,
So
but
I do apologize for all
All right.
that.
Where we going first?
Appreciate that. So, Declan, talk to me, man. It's been a minute since you've been on the show. What's with you, bro? Talk
Yeah,
to us.
so I'm coming from, I guess, what looks like a Raiders superfan's basement with this color. But I'm coming from actually upstate New York, Western New York, about an hour from Buffalo, Pittsuni,
Ugh.
Rockport. There's
Gross.
my
Oh, it's
lovely
Rockport, okay.
ID. So I'm up there now, first year college, having fun.
Hey, there you go.
Nice.
I think you guys should feel pretty happy. It's a Friday night, and look where I am right now. Which, don't worry, guys. The nights up here start at like 11. So it's fine. It's all good. It's all good. But better 7 at night than 7 in the morning. But
100%.
happy to be here, of course. New regime since I think I was last on here talking about the Jets.
Yeah.
So maybe some more to be excited about. Maybe not. We'll see what we get into. I'm looking forward to it. And as always, you guys know I love you guys. My favorite show on the network and my favorite Jets show out there. So I'm happy to be back and happy to be back on this show in particular. So thank you guys. It means a lot.
This is why we like having you on, Declan.
Right? Kev, you might have lost your hype man role.
Look,
He can have it.
He can have it. He's nice with it. Okay, he can have it.
Right?
All right. Look, I'm sure.
Hype.
Yeah, look, I'm sure we've got a million things to discuss right now. CJ, as our fearless leader right now, we're going to let you steer a little bit. But look, throughout all of the stuff that we got going on, man, what's priority? Where do you want to start?
Well, first things first, it's been a while since the three of us have all been together. So we have 2 games to talk about tonight. We obviously have Jets Bengals to talk about. Jet coming from 11 points down, getting that win, 31. However, definitely Jets to the Colts, in my opinion, 45-30. A game in which we saw Mike White in his forearm, in which he was replaced by Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson did okay, in relief work. He actually finished with over 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Elijah Moore, recipient of 2. As a matter of fact, Ryan, the recipient of 1. People may say it's garbage time, whatever. I'm very curious to get your gentlemen's thoughts on that. Kevin, we're going to kick it off with you because I know you've been rather opinionated on some of the chats out there.
Look.
And I really want you to start laying down the lumber here. Swing back Declan to get his thoughts because we only have him for a limited amount of time.
All right. So then I'll be quick. me being vocal in the chats has a lot to do with some of the stupidity that I've been hearing in those chats. All right. So I've had to voice my opinion and I've had to say things that I think that maybe some folks don't want to hear, but I think are in line with what a true timeline of reality actually is. Wake up, guys. This is not, it's not sci-fi. It's not, this is and Jimmy, you know this is my favorite saying, right? It's another unfortunate side effect of hunger, man. It is.
There it is.
We've been so hungry for so long. We're starting to look. I say it all the time. I'm just like, yo, I'm having my Steve Buscemi moment, right? Like I'm way out of character right now. Like I need something to eat so bad so I can get back to being, the handsome spotty that I normally am, and instead of being all these. Look, the fact of the matter is that what it is that we've seen, it's given us something to have hope. We can talk about, we can be excited about. But let's not be stupid. Let's not dive off the damn bridge and start making claims and assertions about stuff that we really have no clue about. And I think just in the short term, right? Zach Wilson is our franchise quarterback. Any explanation about the direction of this team from the very first day until now has been, I don't care about wins or losses. The only thing that I care about is seeing
his development.
Period. Right. So I mean, look, we all know what I'm going to say because we all understand it. Right. That's what it's been. So I mean, I see being excited about Mike White, but yeah, Mike the GOAT and all of the Hall of Fame. It's actually annoying. So I've had to stop commenting on it just a little bit, just because I don't want to seem like I'm an irrational fan, and I can't be an asshole. Excuse me. But this is. Nah. Can we not have this be a thing? Especially when we saw Josh Johnson come in, basically from grabbing towels and Gatorade on the practice squad these past few weeks to having 300 yards in 3 quarters. And I mean, if you really just think, if you add his numbers with what it is that Mike White had when he left out, you're literally on par with what it is that Mike White did and got his jersey in the Hall of Fame. So what are we talking about?
My point.
What are we talking about here? Anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox right now because again, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's do it. Who's next? Excuse me.
Send it to Jimmy.
Jimmy, you're up.
Jimmy.
So Kev's gonna send the soapbox right over to me because I'm about to jump on this thing. A very good friend of the show, Tyrus Kennedy, one of my favorite people in the Jets groups. I love that guy.
Like Tyrus.
He's got an amazing football mindset. He is absolutely on point with so many of his takes. I don't think. I mean, we've probably disagreed on semantics a couple of times, and that's about it. But he was asking me in the threads because I'm out there defending. I'm out there defending everything. And he's like, "Why are you even surprised anymore, Jimmy?" And I'm like, "You know what? That's a damn good question." I said, so I kind of had to think about it, and I said, I think my surprise from the idiocy and the lunacy that we see in these Jets groups is more surprise on, like, every week we look at some of these comments and we're like, man, it can't possibly get any stupider than that. It can't possibly get any worse. And then the next week, guess what? It gets worse. So I think my surprise comes more from, wow, it's still getting worse, than the actual stupidity itself. So big shout out to Tyrus Kennedy and for a lot of his takes on the Jets. Much love to him. Like you said, Kev, Josh Johnson, his totals were 3 quarters and was on par with what Mike White did the previous, this previous week in
the math is there, right? The math.
Yeah,
is there.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm seeing posts about how now it's Josh Johnson. Everybody's like, Josh Johnson threw for 317 yards, 3 touchdowns.
I wasn't really even hearing that. I keep hearing guys are like, "Yo, I hope Mike's healthy so he can come back and start." Like, no one cares. I'll just be honest with you. I would almost prefer Joe Flacco come in and play it so Zach can have another game with a different quarterback to look at. Just to see how the differences in how they run it.
I made a comment in one of the groups. I said, "Did you see that completion from Josh Johnson to Keelan Cole?" I'm like, where we got to put his jersey in Canton.
I'm saying.
Time to get that man a jacket. You know, he completed a pass to Keelan Cole. That's the level. That's the level that people were for Mike White after one game. Now I'm happy Mike White did great. I really am. But one game, bro. And you were talking about Zach who? Nah.
Right.
No, you guys got to stop. You guys got to stop out there. So, like I said, the Bengals game, we're going to dive more into that. We're also going to dive into the Colts game. It was a tough one.
Yeah.
I liked the fight that I saw. Admittedly, when it hit 35-10, I was like, all right, I'm done. I just started checking back periodically.
Yeah.
But in my defense, I do have some personal, responsibilities that I had to take care of during the game. So that was part of it. But look, the fans, you guys have got to understand the real underlying reasons that this team is where it is right now. And you have to start laying blame. Yes, there's blame to be paid out. That's for sure. But you guys have got to understand the real factors and the real places where we lay this blame. And I'm going to let Declan take over for right now. And once we get into specific games and specific areas, I'm going to jump back in. But Declan, what do you think, man?
So I'm not going to mince words when I say this. Mike White is the greatest quarterback of all time.
It's obvious, right? It's obvious.
Had to be said. I mean, it had to be said. But I am going to go against
100 yards a quarter. He's thrown for 100 yards a quarter.
He's on pace to be the greatest quarterback of all time.
For sure.
Yeah, totally. Here's what I'll say. I'm going to go against you guys in this regard. I think this Mike White coming in and playing the way he has is a good thing for multiple reasons. One, Mike White, it sounds crazy, but the fact of the matter is that he looked good last night too before he got hurt.
He did.
If he keeps playing good, it's his job, and it's his job to run with. I'm not going to go out. Hear me out. I'm not going to go out and say all this stuff about, hey, listen, he's going to be the franchise guy. Is it possible that he could be the franchise guy? Listen, it is possible. You got to admit it's possible. I'm not saying he is, but it is possible.
Bledsoe, Brady, I get it.
Right, exactly. I mean, the classic backup quarterback takes over. This is a different circumstance now because Zach Wilson was a first-round pick. What I think you guys are doing as Jets fans is you're showing so much loyalty to Zach Wilson, who, quite frankly, let's call it what it is. Mike White has looked better than Zach Wilson in one game than Zach has looked all year.
I have a point to that.
Got you, for sure. And I'm going to go as far as to say, listen, Josh Johnson should not be the starter. Obviously, he's a third stringer. But Josh Johnson looked better in 3 quarters of football than Zach Wilson has all season. So I think you guys are taking this turn as to let's pump the brakes. When Zach comes back, it's his job. I don't think it is. And I think that it's still time to be decided based on the next couple of games. But if Zach sits for the rest of the season, not a bad thing. Especially, guys, you guys see it every Sunday as Jet fans. He is not an NFL-ready quarterback right now. They lose with him. He cannot move the ball down the field. Josh Johnson threw 3 touchdowns last night, and he came in relief. Zach Wilson has 4 touchdowns all year. Mike White has 5 in 5 quarters, and more than Zach Wilson has all year. So if Zach sits, it doesn't mean you're going to say he's not the franchise. Let's get him out of here. It's more so, let's get him time to sit and learn. The Flacco move makes no sense, as you have now proven that your 2 backup quarterbacks, your second and third stringer, have looked better than your first stringer. So that's the frustration that I can see you guys having as Jet fans. But the idea, listen, I'm, again, not going to say Mike White's the future, but the loyalty to Zach Wilson shouldn't be anywhere to be found based on how he's played so far. And it doesn't mean he can't be good. I personally don't think he's that guy. I thought they should have took Fields over him. But right now, to give Mac Jones, it's a thought. It's a thought. Not Mac Jones. Zach Wilson. To bench Zach Wilson is not a bad thing. And if Mike White proves that if he goes out and he wins the next, if he goes 2-2 or 3-1, he's that guy. Because quite frankly, right now, Mike White is a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. Future is to be determined.
CJ, do you mind if I jump in here and respond?
And I have a follow-up on that one.
Yeah, it's a different side, so it's a good comp.
I'm just
Okay,
gonna
see
jump
you
in
on
here.
mute.
Look, are there things that Zach Wilson needs to work on and dramatically needs to improve as a starting NFL franchise quarterback? Absolutely. But as I pointed out, is Jets fans need to, I know you're a Giants fan, Declan. I'm not lumping you in here.
I'll pretend I'm a Jets fan for the sake of it.
But
I'll throw
what
this
That's
aside.
that's what the guys on ESPN do. That's what the guys on ESPN
exactly.
do. Yeah,
well, at least it's better than the NFL Network with a guy blaming the Josh Allen 4th and 1 debacle on Taylor Lewan being hurt.
No, that was
Not
ESPN.
even he's not even a Bill.
yeah.
That was ESPN too.
Oh, it was ESPN. That's right.
Well, of
Yeah.
course. I mean,
That's
NFL
just
Network.
horrible.
It's just
Can't come after
disgusting.
NFL Network.
Like
Love
all
it.
four of us could do a better job than 90% of the ESPN analysts out there on that network. But anyway,
we do every week. We do every week. Let's go.
what needs to be reminded are the real factors of why we are where we are. Okay. Yes, Zach Wilson has some things to work on. He's put the ball at the feet of some of his receivers in his checkdowns and his out routes. Yes, that's absolutely true. He needs to work on some accuracy. He needs to work on playing within the system. I'm not denying that at all. What everybody seems to forget is for the first 6 games, Zach Wilson has been dealing with 35% of his on-target throws being dropped by his receivers and running backs. If you factor out, PFF did this, if you factor out those on-target drops, Zach Wilson is now throwing at a 71%. He is also four of those on-target throws that were dropped were tips for interceptions. So remove 4 of Zach Wilson's interceptions, and you can add in a couple of deep throws that have been dropped that would have been touchdowns. So you're talking about Zach Wilson having 4 touchdowns. He could easily have in between 7 to 8 touchdowns, factoring out those drops.
But why do the other 2 quarterbacks have so much success compared to with those same receivers? Even adding
I'm
more
getting to
and
that.
more and more.
I'm actually getting to that.
Okay.
There's a couple of things. I want to follow up after you're done, Jim. Go ahead.
For sure. And I'm almost done. But you're talking about Zach Wilson likely, and I'm using this term very loosely. I know this is not empirical objective data. I'm just going on, the drops and how those factored in. So you're looking at Zach Wilson having likely between 7 and 9 touchdowns, only about 4 or 5 interceptions. But the key here is a lot of those drops, those would have translated probably into about 400 or 500 yards more on his total. So you're talking about a quarterback that you factor out those drops that is now in the top 7 in yards. He's probably in the top 12 in touchdowns, and he's in the bottom. He's in like the bottom of the interceptions total. So that's a big part of it. The other thing is game plan. We were seeing, and I got, you know what? I'm still not going to say his name. The coach who shall not be named from our previous regime. You were seeing that level of game plan throughout the first 6 games. Run, pass, punt, repeat. Run, pass, punt, repeat.
Offensive coordinator Adam Gase.
Is that actually real? Because I heard that was fake.
No, he's not a head coach anywhere. He's an offensive coordinator. I can't do the Zach Wilson stuff though. He's got 4 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I mean, it's tough to twist that around a lot.
I understand, and again, this is why I'm saying he still has stuff to work on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you put Zach Wilson in the game plan that we saw the last 2 games, an O-line that is actually blocking. That's another big thing. The O-line was playing like trash the first 6 games. You get the receivers and running backs actually catching the ball. The game plan, the trickeration, the misdirection, you put all that in Zach Wilson's hands, we're not having this conversation in week 9.
I'll just be honest with you. I'm close. I'm close to that. I just think that and Declan does have a little bit of a point in, we watch Zach struggle. The short and the intermediate passes that have been the lifeblood of what it is that we've seen over the course of these past couple of games. Zach, that's where Zach was having the difficulties. The fact of the matter is that I keep seeing all of this. Oh yeah, they're running the same offense. They're running the same offense. Yeah, they're running the same offense. They're just not running it in the same context, right? Like it's almost like saying, we wanted to add peas and carrots into the soup, but we decided, only to put peas in, and then we saw it later and we tried to do corn. So I mean, it's the same stuff. You're just doing it differently, and that's what the problem is right now. They're not giving Zach that opportunity. I will say this: Zach has not been able to capitalize on those opportunities. This is where it is that I kind of fall on this, all right? Because the fact is that there is something to be said for having Zach sit and watch, right?
Sure.
But what it is that I wanted to say is that in context, it's only until he's healthy, right? It's not like Zach is going to be healthy and ready to go at week 3 and he doesn't play until week 5. That's a ridiculous assumption, right? I don't believe that for one moment. And I'm just going to keep it real. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, let him sit for the rest of the season." That's detrimental. I don't think that's good. That's not the kind of quarterback that we have here. That's not the type of franchise, mentality that we're going to have in the quarterback that we honestly believe is going to be the guy for the next, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. Right. So this is where I'm at with all of that. And I'll just wrap this because I know we want to move. Look, we're looking at Zach Wilson and we're saying that this is the guy, right? We've seen him do spectacular things within the same time that we can actually say we sit here and we've seen him be, a flawed rookie quarterback who really doesn't have a grasp on the offense that he's running right now at 100%. So what? If we keep it in context, we understood that. We expected that there was going to be some difficulty. This is going to be an awesome time for him because I'll tell you right now, if Zach is who it is that I think that he is, he's watched that Bengals game 5 or 6 times already.
Sure.
Right? I'm telling you right now, he's broken it down backwards, forwards, upside down, inside out, the whole thing. That's my expectation. And if that's the type of quarterback that he is, all of this sitting to the end of the season, it's not going to do him any good. You get better at football by playing football. For somebody that played football 20 years, I can tell you that's true, right? I can tell you that's true.
I think another thing real quick on this is so the fans are like, roll with Mike White. If he beats the Colts, then he gets next week. If he beats the Bills, then he gets next week. Even when Zach's coming back, if he wins, he gets the next game. If he wins, he gets the next game. What kind of statement is that making? If you don't win, you don't play. Like, that's not the way to do that as far as your quarterbacks, especially having 2 young guys in there. Not
at quarterback, especially not at quarterback.
I think other than Zach Wilson being the number 2 overall pick, and I don't think that's an entitlement card that should be played.
For sure. I agree with competition.
He hasn't, yes, totally. He hasn't done anything so far to prove that he should be that guy. And I think to disagree, I
don't think we can say anything. I think we can say he hasn't done enough to say that we know for a fact that he's going to be this ridiculous quarterback. But I can't say that he's done nothing to make us believe that.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown glimpses of that Titans game is the one game that I think you can go to and say Zach Wilson performed decent in this one. He showed glimpses. He threw a nice pass to Keelan Cole. But the fact of the matter is that the guy's played 6 games, and he's got a touchdown pass in 2 of them. Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about seeing ghosts. I think that's the definition of it. I mean, he's had games 0 touchdowns, 4 picks, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, 0 touchdowns, 3. So it's like you look at it from that angle and you think, what has he done to deserve the spot back? Listen, you're not committing, you're not essentially throwing him, you're not cutting him, you're not trading him, none of this immediately or anything like that. But I know it sounds ridiculous, but the idea that Mike White, if he performs well until Zach Wilson's out, the idea that he would be the starter for the rest of the season and Zach would sit, it's not out of the equation. I mean, Robert Saleh said it best. Anything's possible. And that is the fact of the matter is that right now, like Jimmy, I know you're keeping hard for Zach, and that's your boy, and I respect that. Believe me, take it from me. I used to do it from Daniel Jones. Sometimes it would feel like I was taking nothing from something. Finally, he's proved me right, and he's performing well. But I just think we're moving around so many numbers that why are we making excuses for a guy who hasn't done what his backup and the third stringer have done in less time so far? It doesn't mean he sucks. It doesn't mean he's not going to be a good quarterback in the league. But
That's fundamentally wrong, though. That's fundamentally wrong.
It's not that I'm like all in for Zach Wilson coming back. It's the fact that it's
fundamentally wrong, though.
It's absolutely game plan that we see for the first 6 weeks compared to what we've seen for the last 2 games.
And again, we're talking about a guy who's only been playing for 6 weeks, and 2 guys that have multiple.
Mike White made his first start. That was
Mike White's been in 4 or 5 different locker rooms. He's been in 4 or 5 different training camps. He's been around. He's actually taken snaps on at this game speed in multiple seasons, right? He got drafted in 2018. He got
2018 by Dallas.
So I mean, look, you don't get drafted in 2018, move around as much as you have, and then even he's been on our practice squad for how many years now? So he's getting reps. He's getting reps. He's learning game. He's learning games. Preps. There is no substitute for experience, right? We don't draft veterans. I say this a million times. We do not draft veterans. These guys have to develop those skills. They have to develop those talents. They have to develop that patience. And look, Mike White's had the ability to do that. Josh Johnson should be cool as the other side of the pillow. He's been in the league, a million different teams.
Josh Johnson's not going to be the starter. That's not. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, but see that's the thing, because this is why I don't understand the Mike White love, because Josh Johnson, who we can already immediately dismiss, oh yeah, he's not going to be the starter. We don't care. He came in, he threw for 300 yards in 3 quarters. Come on. What are we talking about here? He did almost exactly what Mike White did with less to work with, right?
Right, but that's my point, is that Zach Wilson has never done any of that. And
because Zach has never been involved in this the way that those guys have. That's the difference.
Not as good at this point, I feel like.
At this point, but again, just in context, we're talking about 6 games.
But we're
he's
talking
not
about
as good. But the game plan and the play calling have been night and day from the first 6 weeks to the last 2 games. That's the issue. I want to see Zach Wilson put in with Mike LaFleur up in the box, calling games like he has for Cincinnati and Indianapolis. And then if you show me 1 or 2 games with Zach Wilson in that system, with that misdirection, I mean, last 2 games, like I said before, we've been watching run, pass. If you put Zach Wilson in, the first 7 plays are passing plays, and those short checkdowns just take what the defense gives you. I want to see that before we make a call on who's actually been playing better.
Look,
show me the same game plan with these same quarterbacks, and then we can talk about it.
Can I ask this question?
Make a call on who's been playing better.
We've all watched the games, though, right? We've all watched the games, right?
Yeah,
we've all watched them. Okay, so then let me ask you this: when we were looking at Mike White throw the ball all over the field and kind of be so prolific in this offense, what else did we get alongside that production? Right, we got the best running back numbers that we've seen all season. We got ridiculous numbers of catches. And no drops. I mean, we're not seeing drops. We're not seeing penalties. We're not seeing any of that. We're seeing the New York Jets play actually at their very best in that game. We haven't seen that from every aspect of this team in more than that game. And then I'm just going to keep it real. Yeah, look, Mike White is probably much more poised in the pocket. He probably is much more comfortable with reading a defense. He should be.
I don't know that, but see, I don't know that he is, though. When you're a guy who was taken so late, practice squad reps, for the Jets is not going to equate to a regular
4 years worth, though.
But listen, he went up against one of the best teams in the AFC, and he shredded them.
Look, 4 years worth, and all he did And again, like I said, we can go to the numbers. I think it's borne out just in the stats. He really didn't. He wasn't superstar status. He just did what this offense is designed to
game?
do.
No, I mean that's not fair. He threw for 400 yards, right? That isn't like forget Zach Wilson. We're talking Testaverde now. That's the second to last guy that's done that.
I watched
Sam
the
never
game.
done it. Sanchez,
I
Favre,
watched the game.
Pennington.
I watched the
know.
game. Michael Carter. Michael Carter
Testaverde was the last guy to do it for the Jets.
Yes, that was
2000.
98. For reference, I wasn't even a thought. Or a seed.
Testaverde wasn't even really a good quarterback. I mean, we all know that he had some good seasons here, but Vinny was.
He was a compiler. He threw the picks.
Anyway, but realistically, right? Just in this situation here, we're kind of blaming Zach for Zach not having 2 years of experience under his belt. To an extent, right? Because what we're saying is, oh yeah, he doesn't look good as these seasoned veterans do, which he's not supposed to. But I think that the fact is that we brought him in because when he does see this, when he does recognize how it's been run, when he does say, you know what, I never looked at it this way. As I'm running through this film and I see Mike run it, as I see Jason run it, I'm recognizing something that I didn't see before. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So let me try this. Now that I've seen how it works, right? Maybe what the LaFleur does have an issue with calling the game, from the booth and he is on the sideline because he can't really focus on calling the game from the sideline if he's still got responsibility for patting Zach on the ass. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for him to snatch the pacifier out of Zach's mouth and kick his ass to the sideline and tell him, yo, if you got a question, call me on the phone. Right. Or, and I know we're going to get to this in a little while, but this is part of why it is that John Beck, I think, was hired, right?
That's right, because Calabrese isn't
Beck
enough. Sorry, CJ, go ahead.
Zach Wilson. John Beck was hired to give a little bit more stability to the quarterback coaches, and also he's someone that Zach Wilson is also familiar with. And I want to throw my 2 cents worth in. You guys have made some tremendous points with the Mike White, Zach Wilson, Josh Johnson comparison and everything. And I still believe that Joe Flacco was just brought in as an inch. And I really don't think that even though we gave up a 6th round, I mean, really it's the equivalent of a slightly used jockstrap. So I'm not really worried about that too much. Now, as far as the whole
Brady?
Mike White and what he accomplished in the Bengals game, so on and so forth, yes, he did accomplish something good. But as far as I'm concerned, the only thing that concerns me about the New York Jets right now is who could go out there and run the offensive machine competently. And for me, if I think that Zach Wilson, if he sits for a couple of games and how to play that boring football, exactly what they should have been at the beginning of the season, then I think that Zach will benefit from these times of being able to see Mike White under center, how he processes defenses, how he takes what the defense gives him, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I made this comparison last night on the Ain't Easy Being Green pregame show, and basically it's Zach Wilson can be Steph Curry and hit the threes. What I need Zach Wilson to be, I need Zach Wilson doing in the paint. I need him to go in there and to hit those little checkdowns, hit those intermediate routes, get those points within the paint, keep those chains moving, and most of all, be able to grind the hell out of defenses so that way when they're primed for that over-the-top 50, 60, 70-yard bomb, that he can take the top off the defense and go ahead and deliver it. The thing that's missing from Zach Wilson's game is the short route and the underneath. Jimmy brought up a great point. He hasn't been helped out by drops. Okay, that's fine. But as far as I'm concerned, and yes, I came right out and I said that if it were up to me, I'd have it this season. Why? Because I want him to learn the speed of the NFL game. I want him to watch the game through the eyes of quarterbacks that are running the same system that he is, so he clicks. And I'll also say another thing too. I'll put this out there, that I think that Mike LaFleur got so carried away at the beginning of the season that he just completely threw the playbook at friggin' Zach Wilson, and that's the reason why he struggled the first part of the year. To me, saying in the offseason that I would have liked Zach to sit for the first part of the season, first couple of games, have him watch, and then turn the keys over to him after the just like the Giants did with Eli Manning. I keep bringing this up, and everybody keeps laughing at me and keep telling me that I'm wrong. But you know what? Guess what? Look at what we got now. Okay? Now we're discussion, is Mike White better than Zach Wilson? Is Zach Wilson trash? You got people calling up ESPN New York. The DiPietro and Rothenberg show this morning. I wanted to spit my coffee out of my mouth when some jerk-off goes and freaking calls and says the Jets should trade Zach Wilson because he's a bust. Come on. I see stuff on Facebook all the time. Zach can't process that. Meanwhile, everybody strapped when they friggin' drafted him and they couldn't wait for him to play, and now we're so quick to throw him in a friggin' dumpster because he can't do anything. How about letting the kid actually learn how to play the NFL game at the proper NFL speed?
No.
Let's actually do something right for a change and actually develop a freaking quarterback instead of being a quarterback meat grinder. We just bring people in, throw them into the deep end of the pool, and then just chuck them to the side because they suck. Stop it now. I understand everybody wants to be all over Mike White's jock because of the 400-plus yards, 400-plus performance. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. Mike White is keeping the seat warm for Zach Wilson. And you want to know something else? Mike is basically making a case for himself to be the long-term solution at backup quarterback for the New York Jets. Point blank, period, the end. Don't like the tape? Shut the show off. Too bad.
I have something on that.
Look, he solidified he'll be well paid.
Get it out.
He'll be well paid.
I look at it. Sorry. I see a Michael Vick, Matt Schaub relationship here. That's what I see with Zach Wilson and Mike White.
Wow.
And it worked. It worked in Atlanta. Granted, Vic was injured every other game.
And I think that's a little different. That's a little different.
But here's the biggest
Why
point.
can't we have that?
I'm not mad at that.
Right. No, and to CJ's point, if we were to have re-signed Flacco for another year in the offseason, I would have been all in on Flacco being the starter and Wilson learning from that. I would have been 100% in.
Yeah, Flacco didn't want to be here though, right?
No, that's the problem. That's the problem. And he said he's here to play football. He's not here to be a teacher. He said it. He said it. So if we would have signed Flacco, I would have been 100% all in on Flacco being the guy. Let Zach sit and learn. San Francisco had been doing it right with Trey Lance. And like CJ's absolutely right. We're just a quarterback meat grinder where we just throw these in. But my point to that part of it is with what we had to work with going into week one, we had Zach Wilson, we had Mike White, and we had Josh Johnson, or not even Johnson until later. But my point here is you have Robert Saleh as a first-year head coach. You have Mike LaFleur, who's a first-year offensive coordinator. Now, I don't care what any fan wants to say.
That's hard.
The fact that you have your OC and your head coach in their first year, don't care where Zach Wilson was drafted. Those two guys are not going to hang the first year of their coaching careers in those roles on the lesser of two options. So people saying Mike White's the GOAT, Mike White's this, Mike White's that. If Mike White was the better option from week one, he would have gotten the starting nod from Saleh and from LaFleur in week one. The fact is Zach Wilson is an objectively better quarterback. There were mistakes made for having a vet ready for week one. But as far as what we had to work with from week one, Zach Wilson was the call. The game plan has been the issue for the first 9 weeks or for the first 6 weeks of this season. That's where the problems lie. Period. Play calling. Horrible play calling the first 6 weeks. And when they opened up the play calling and when they started taking what the defense gave them, what happened? We beat the Titans. We beat the Titans.
Come on, man.
Why are we mad that our backup is doing good? What is wrong with calling him a backup? He is. He's a backup.
What's not to say Zach Wilson has the opportunity to throw on first down 3 out of the first 4 drives and is successful,
Right?
and that changes the entire trajectory of how else it is that he sees the rest of the game. You know,
We're just not having the same conversation if we're looking at the same game plan under both quarterbacks. Period.
Not only that, but you got to think about it this way: Zach Wilson is coming in trying to overcome 3rd and 7.
Yeah,
With
run, pass, punt, repeat.
I mean, look, let him get that first down little screen off. Let Michael Carter get 7-8 yards and let's work it out for
bingo.
Like what they've been doing. Like what they've been doing that's been successful. This is why I don't understand what we're talking about here. Everybody has these questions about, when you run the type of offense that puts these guys in position to be successful and they capitalize, that's it. Zach's had drops, yes. Zach's has drops. Zach's has
got a lot to work on.
Bad throws. Let's go. Come on, man.
Got a lot to work on.
I think honestly, from a Jets perspective, I think it's insane that they went through the first 6 weeks thinking that Zach Wilson was the better option. They had Mike White in scout team. They had him in scout team. They knew the kind of player he was. And the fact they went with Wilson, the guys, you said it, Jimmy, you wanted him to sit behind Flacco or somebody. Yeah. For me personally, the 2 guys that came to mind before Alex Smith retired, I thought it was a great fit, and I thought Fitzpatrick was a great fit as well. Mm-hmm. That would have been what I would have done coming in, because I never thought Zach Wilson was ready from the jump, and he's not. He's shown he's not.
Rookies aren't. Period. Declan, I agree with that.
I can't.
Kevin's just over there like,
if Ryan, if whatever his name was the quarterback, I wouldn't be on the show.
Fitzpatrick.
I would be like, camera off.
You're on the wrong show if you're going to defend Ryan Fitzpatrick, brother.
Not for me. You guys have with him. He gave you your best season.
No, he did not. He did not.
Yes, he did. He threw 30 touchdowns.
He ruined what was supposed to have been a true rebuild. That's what he did. He ruined it.
What he ruined the Geno Smith era. You should send them a Whitman.
Yeah, so did Mike.
I think the linebacker that punched Geno Smith in the face.
That guy might have ruined it. That guy might have ruined it.
He did, and that guy should have never been on the team. That guy should have never been on the team, and Mike McCagnon has some responsibility for that also. So
Mike McCagnon should have never been an NFL GM. Period.
Point blank. Because he's the one that put that nonsense together in the locker room anyway. Look, just because that's it is what it is. I know people like whatever is a 6-pick trap. I know they like him. I know they love the personality and I mean he can win you 8-9 games every year, and then you lose right before you go to the playoffs and never make it in. But you'll have a couple of great Sunday afternoon victories where he'll take all of the credit and he'll make it seem like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then he'll suck again the next game. So, yeah, 6-pick trap is not necessarily and will never ever again be on my list of feasible replacements for any type of anything. And I think we can hold.
I think we can hold out hope that Chad Pennington's son has committed to Marshall and he's open to being a QB coach in the NFL, and I think that it would be a phenomenal thing to bring in a guy who was one of the best Jets quarterbacks in the last 50 years.
Who never threw for 400 yards in a game, by the way.
Dude, Dink and Dunk is working for Mac Jones, isn't it? They're winning. They're winning.
He's
making
completion percentage. Third highest.
I don't care
in history. Chad Pennington.
Yeah, I mean, my point being is that there's no better guy to come into the New York market and teach a QB how to handle the New York market than a Chad Pennington.
I would agree with that. I just as of right now, I keep pointing to that Beck signing as being something. Like I don't want to get too deep into it just yet, but something about that I think is really going to be impactful going forward.
I'm ready to get into some game focused stuff if you guys are.
Yeah, let's do that because we've been talking about this nonsense for a while.
We've beat Mike White and Zach Wilson into the ground.
Yeah. And look, I got to keep saying this. Don't put some respect on Josh Johnson's name, man.
100%.
Put some respect on Josh Johnson's name. Josh Johnson came in not even as prepared as Mike White and played what was arguably, a similar, or if not the same game. So come on now, put some respect on Josh Johnson's name.
We're set at quarterback, and re-signing Flacco this late was a mistake.
Yeah, it was
So-
horrible.
The trading for him was a mistake. And you know what the
That's
mistake You know what? You're right. Sorry. You know what the mistake was, and that makes no sense. And this is where the Jets got caught with their pants down. And it's crazy because, again, they've had Mike White in their system, practice squad, for 3 years, and they didn't know this. They traded for Flacco with the hopes that Mike White would start the game, they'd get their asses beat, and then Flacco would be the temporary replacement, and then Zach Wilson could learn from him. But what they didn't realize was that they got blindsided with a great performance by White. Another good one until he got hurt last night. He's going to start next week if he's healthy. I mean, it was a bad move. I mean, but yeah, hopefully someone can learn from it.
I don't think they ever saw that guy in practice.
Like I said, I think Mike White through the Cincinnati game, I think Mike White proved that he is a reliable backup.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did, and they are going to have to make a decision soon as who's going to be a little bit before we start talking about it. Actually, you know what? We're going to do this before we switch gears. We're going to go around the room really quickly. All right, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. We're going to start with Declan, then we'll finish up with Kevin, and then I want you, in your opinion, to give me who you would start next week, Jimmy.
I'm sorry, CJ, you're skipping out. Who would I start?
He wanted to know who you'd start next week.
Now
who would you
is
start
that
next week against Buffalo? Go.
now is that if everyone was healthy?
Yes, if everyone was healthy, who would you start?
Zach Wilson. 100%. If you're telling me that
Okay.
Michael
Declan.
Floor is going to be up in the box calling this game as he'd called the last two, Zach Wilson, 100%.
Jump to Spotty real quick. I got to get a prop ready.
Declan.
All right.
He's got props and everything.
Declan's getting props. Look, I'll give him a shot. Yeah, look, I'll give him a shot because I'm interested in seeing how this turns out. The reality is that if we're talking about some hypothetical, is he completely and totally healthy? Then I would say Zach. If Zach is just coming back and is just starting to practice maybe halfway this week, before the Bills game, I start Josh Johnson because
Really?
I want to see what it is that he has before we have to make a decision of if we're going to release him because we're going to need to keep Joe Flacco.
What? Yeah, you have to keep Joe Flacco because you spent a draft pick on him, and that's the part that just irritates me.
Exactly. And then there's also, which I think is there's also. Go ahead.
So, Gad, finish your point, and then I want.
All right. Look, the fact is that Joe Flacco, part of the reason why he's here is because they wanted to have that veteran voice in the locker room and in the film room and all of that. And I think I think it's difficult. It's difficult to say that even makes a difference right now because we've seen Josh Johnson be effective in this offense. If we're talking about a veteran, we're talking about again all of this. Who knows how to run the offense?
He just doesn't. He doesn't even want that role, man. He's been standing on the sidelines the last 2 games with his arms folded. I've seen him say 5 words to Mike White. He hasn't talked to Zach Wilson at all. Like
I saw him next to Zach Wilson last night.
Well, I mean, you saw a little bit more than me. That's fine. Like,
Right,
I'm open. I'm open to changing this stance on evidence, but I just haven't seen it. And just judging from Flacco's demeanor and his statements previously, he just doesn't want that role. I don't see him as a piece that this team needed at that particular moment.
I agree.
I think they panicked. Look, the reason why they panicked is because they didn't know that Mike White was going to play that well.
Right.
They didn't know Josh Johnson was going to play that well.
And those Jets fans,
they had no idea.
and all those Jets fans at the beginning of the year saying that we need a vet, we need a vet, we need a vet.
We have one.
And they dismissed Mike White entirely
I said
as a viable backup.
I did.
They dismissed him entirely. And then those same fans now, after the Cincinnati game,
We had no idea.
that's the point.
You need to tell me somebody's going to come out and they're going to see this 400-yard performance? Come on now. Nobody knew that this kid was coming. No
Bingo.
one did. That's why
That's
everybody
my-
was screaming for a vet.
Right.
That's my point, CJ. I'm saying that now they saw that performance, and now they're like, Zach who? Now they're like, why did we get Flacco? Those same people that were dismissing White as a backup are now calling him some sort of savior, wanting to get rid of Wilson, and are mad about the Flacco acquisition.
So Flacco was a panic move. He was brought in as,
Yes.
as an insurance company because, again, did not know what they had. The Mike White experiment crashed and burned, and he ended up being like Trevor Siemian 2.0, where he got his soul matched on national television. Okay, then they would have had to answer for something.
Yeah.
CJ,
Declan, you're up. Talk to me.
All right, I'll tell you who I'm starting next week. Mike effing White. That's who I'm starting next week. Easy enough. He's been the best guy they've had so far. And you know what? He's healthy. If he's healthy, you start him. That's what I think.
I said Zach Wilson based on everybody being 100% healthy. That's
right.
the thought.
And if everybody was 100% healthy against the Buffalo Bills, one of the best secondary in football, and if you really care about Zach's development, about sitting him, you're not going to send him to the Wolves. So I bring up the sign again. If Zach Wilson is healthy, that's who I'm starting. And
Declan, I can actually get on board with that. I can get on board with that.
I can't.
Well,
I think you throw
come
him
on,
to the Wolves.
Spotty.
I think you throw him to the
All
Wolves.
right,
I think
I'm
that's
gonna
the
give
point.
my choice real quick, and then. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give my choice real quick. We'll switch gears and go over to our next segment. We still got two more segments. Your front office segment. We got Kevin Jackson's in the spotlight segment. You guys are watching Weapons Hot on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Now, who's CJ the Painkiller D. Simone star? Guess who, baby? Josh Johnson. You know why?
Wow.
He earned the right last night, bringing the Jets back after Mike White got hurt. No quit in that kid, and that kid was so upset. You want to know something? I'm so proud of that kid because during that interception,
I was too.
that he went over to the side. It took like 5 people to calm that man down. And when you listen to that post-game conference, he was so amped up he had to stop himself from cursing. All right? He was pissed. He was ready. He was ready right there. He was ready to bring the Jets within 7 points and throw special teams out there for another onside kick. He was ready to make it sweat. And you know what? I don't care what anybody's posts on Facebook and Twitter and anybody had to say about time. This team last year would have rolled over and played dead like a dead water bug. And you want to know something? They kept fighting, and I hear about, the defense gave you guys those points. Bullshit! They earned those points. 4 straight drives, the New York Jets got points. Stop trying to pour water on this game. If you're not a fan, your friggin' mouth and turn off the channel.
I love it. This is what I missed.
I'm sick of it. Man, or shut your mouth.
Look, this is the truth about how this is unfolded, though. It is.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have to say goodbye to Mr. Declan Krogman, who is actually going to leave us tonight. Declan, before you go, please give out all your social media information so fans of Weapons Hot interact with you and check out the sports hit list. You guys do a tremendous job over there. Please let us.
Good luck, CJ. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, guys. My Instagram is my name. It's at Declan Krogman. And more importantly, Smoke and Mirrors. You can find us on the Sports Hit List, as CJ said. My boy Greg and Steph, best in the biz. You guys as well, of course. So thank you guys for having me on. For everyone's sake, I hope Mike White goes off this season. For everyone's sake, because you guys deserve it. But you know what I will say? You guys are my friends. I respect you guys as Jet fans. For your sake, you're going to be more happy with Mike White than you will with Zach Wilson. And I need that for you guys. And for that, I hope he becomes what I think he can be. And that is a decent quarterback this season. So I hope he's good. Hope everyone stays well, stay healthy. Be safe, guys. You do a great job as always. Take care.
That's what's up, Declan.
Thanks, Declan.
Thank you, Declan. Thank you so
Always good to have
much.
Declan. Declan's dope. And their
All
show.
right, ladies and gentlemen, that was
their
Declan Krogman from the Sports Hit. Absolutely. So we're going to start off with Kevin's segment here in the spotlight, as he's got a very special person in the spotlight who we're going to talk about tonight. And I cannot wait, because Kevin always brings the fire when he does the spotlight. So, Kev, mic's all yours. Go for it, my friend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I kind of kicked around who was going to be in the spotlight tonight, just basically because if you watch the last game, you kind of saw that there's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad, right? There's the emergence of Elijah Moore, there's the solidifying of Michael Carter being that guy. There is, some pretty strong contributions from Ty Johnson. The offensive line specifically, I know Morgan Moses has struggled a little bit. George Fant, who, for all of his issues, injuries, and all the other stuff, he's still been really solid. Elijah Vera Tucker has been one of the best offensive linemen in the league so far over the course of these past few weeks. There's a lot of different light to be shown along everyone. I mean, just imagine what it is that they did with Mike White and Josh Johnson. And again, I have to give both of them props. And I don't want to diminish what Josh Johnson did. I think people are not really putting enough respect on his name. But what I have to say, and who I have to focus this spotlight on as of right now, is our newest coach, John Dalton Beck. Right? I even did a little digging on this because obviously, we know the BYU connection between him and our stars pupil quarterback as of right now. But I mean, John Beck, was a second round pick back in 1981. So I mean, the dude, he's a solid football mind, and I think that we've recognized some of the people that he's coached and that he's helped and mentored. They've actually done some pretty good things here. And I'm not going to say there's no Hall of Famers amongst them. I just think that supremely talented is Zach Wilson among those guys. I think he's just a better physical specimen when it comes to what it is that quarterbacks do. Now, let me clean this up, right? John Beck is in the spotlight tonight because for all of what it is that we talked about, John Beck is discussing why it is that Zach Wilson could not do what it is that we saw Mike White do, why Zach Wilson has not been able to do what it is that we saw Josh Johnson do, why it is that we haven't seen Mike LaFleur do what it is that we've seen Mike LaFleur do. And I think that all of the assimilation, all of the changes, all of the adjustments, all of the recognitions, all of the things that we're needing for Zach Wilson to be able to attach and adhere to are all of the things that we brought John Beck in to do, right? That's part of the reason why everybody's kind of sitting on Mike White, because Mike White has just a better, veteran understanding of what's going on. And Zach Wilson, unfortunately, he just hasn't had the time to create that. He hasn't had time to build that. He hasn't had time to cultivate that, right? Even Josh Johnson's been in the league 246 years. I mean, he's been on 314 teams. He's been all over the place. And he comes in, and to Jim's point, the fire that the guy was playing with at the end of the game, that's what it is that I'm talking about. He felt in this offense, he felt like if he had more time, he could have won the game, right? Just like Mike White. Mike White, he had more time. We won the game. Zach Wilson has the ability to be twice as good as both of them guys put together. And that's the reason why he's starting. That's the reason why when he's healthy and at full strength and he's ready to go, John Beck is one of the premier reasons why we expect to see him come back with at least a more functional understanding of what it is that he's watched in Mike White and Josh Johnson over the course of these past couple of games, and also maybe a little bit of pulling his own head out of his ass from Mike LaFleur, who's really, as much as you want to think that maybe he's been trying to do Zach some favors by giving him, some plays to really make it seem exciting. I don't think he's done him any favors. And I actually think that Mike LaFleur is part of why it is that Zach struggled early the way that he has. Now, with that being said, he's actually done quite a bit better. And I think that if he just remains loose the way that he's been and he gives Zach an opportunity to feel comfortable because of John Beck's tutelage over the course of these next few weeks, I think we might go into that stretch where we have Miami twice and we have Jacksonville and we have Houston and we have, we have Philly. We have all of them teams coming up. I think that could be a really big opportunity to see Zach actually come into his own with regards to the confidence that has been displayed by these other two quarterbacks. And I think that John Beck is going to be really key. I said it earlier. I think Zach has probably watched that Bengals game 5 or 6 times, and there's going to be some information that he's going to take out of that is most definitely going to be beneficial for him. The guy that's actually helping him break that down and decipher it is John Beck. John Beck's in the spotlight tonight because, keep it real, I think I'm not sure if there's going to be anybody else that is as close to what Zach is going to need to assimilate than it's going to be to John Beck. And I hope that John Beck and Mike LaFleur are in lockstep right now, because that's most definitely going to be what's necessary. Anyways, guys, John Beck in the spotlight. What do you think? Am I wilding? Am I making sense?
Oh, I actually like it. I like the fact that John Beck was in the spotlight. Robert Saleh talked about him at length, about the reason why he was brought in. Zach Wilson went to go see him during the bye week to work on mechanics, to talk about different verbiage, to explain to him what it is that he was seeing and so on. So I think Beck is going to be an integral part for the rest of this season of Zach Wilson's development, and the reason being why I want as many eyes and as many ears as Zach Wilson can listen to. And most of all, I want as much coaching at Zach Wilson's disposal that's going to help him be the best quarterback that he can be. Because if we expect Zach Wilson to be the franchise quarterback of this team for the next decade, then we need to have the best top flight coaching here in the right direction, instead of just taking, a handful of mud and throwing, twigs and throwing it against the wall and sees what sticks, have done everything else. So, with the player, Zach Wilson, also the onus on him. He's got to be able to assimilate the decision too. So the onus is going to be on him to be able to go out there and to show what exactly he's learned and be able to execute the offense himself. So it's not just the coaching. It's also going to be on Zach Wilson to be able to show that he can, in fact, be taught and execute this offense at the NFL level. Jimmy, what do you think?
I absolutely agree. Like I said, I've never in this whole, it's been a real short time, right? It's been 2 games. I've never once in that period said that Zach Wilson is blameless here. He absolutely has some accuracy stuff to work on.
Exactly.
I love the Beck addition to the coaching staff. I think it's going to be great. I think it's also a big statement by the New York Jets that Zach Wilson is the guy, bringing in his coach from BYU. I get that. Like I said, for me, it comes down to game plan. We've seen 2 very distinctively different game plans from the first 6 games to the last 2. And that's just the fact of the matter. Anybody can disagree with me all they want, but it's just not the case. You've just seen 2 different game plans. I want to see Zach Wilson in this type of LaFleur play calling that we've seen the last 2 weeks, because to LaFleur's credit, these last 2 weeks, it has worked. And when you have an objectively better quarterback in Zach Wilson than a Mike White or a Josh Johnson, you put him in that game plan. If he takes the coaching to heart, and if we see the exact opposite that we saw for 3 years with Sam Darnold, and you see a player that can actually take that coaching and make something out of it, then we're the conversation's over. We have our franchise quarterback in Zach Wilson. That's the key, right? CJ, I 100% agree with you. Zach Wilson absolutely has to show that he belongs. He absolutely does. But give me a couple games of Zach Wilson in this new game plan that we're seeing, and I am ultimately confident that this conversation will be over. I'm ultimately confident that we're not going to have this debate on the show, on the Facebook groups, on Twitter. It's just not going to be the thing. I love the fact, and I'm going to bring it up in my segment, but I love the fact that we have proven this fan base wrong every step of the way with what we had at quarterback. And I've said it from the start, guys. You guys know. I've said it from the start. These kids are young. This is going to be baptism by fire. This quarterback room is good, and it's good enough to work the rest of the season. So I agree with points that both of you guys made. Like I said, the outlier here, you show me Zach Wilson in this offense that we've seen, and you're going to see magic happen.
Yo, what we need to see is the entire team play around Zach the way that the entire team played around Mike.
Bingo.
Right? Because I mean,
1,000%.
There's a huge difference between that team and what Zach was dealing with, even in Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Even in Tennessee. I mean, you just think about Corey Davis dropping passes early in that game.
And then he turned it around.
Exactly, having to overcome that adversity to be even, to do what it is that he did. And then again, at the end of the game, it was Zach, right?
Credit Zach Wilson for keeping his faith in Corey Davis.
Exactly, been going back to him, but and also doing all of that without the benefit of a run game the way that we had it, when we just played the Bengals here. That the run game, the contribution that you get from the run game makes it that much easier. It makes it that.
And the run game was still soft against Cincinnati too.
I'm saying, but it was better. Right?
Yeah, but it opened up because of that intermediate and short passing game that I've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks.
That's by 1.5 million cuts. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of them cuts underneath it, that's going to be the ones that have you throw your hands up like, oh, whatever. And then that big slice comes and cuts your head off. That's what Zach brings to the table. That's the difference
100%.
between
more.
We expect for Zach to be able to do in this and what it is that we've seen Mike and Josh. Look, I'm going to keep it real. The reason why Josh Johnson had as many yards as he had last night is because he was able to hit some of those deeper passes, right? Those 15 to 20 yards, 17 to 25 yard passes. That's where he was operating towards the end of the game. If you're really looking at it, some of the outside,
because the defense opened up, or the offense opened up with the short passing game. They opened up that intermediate.
So this is what I'm looking for, and I mean, I think this is what makes sense when you're talking about bringing along Zach Wilson to create a flow in the game. You give him those first and second down little outs and curls to get him, 8 to 7 to 8 to 10 to 12 yards. You know what I'm saying? And then when that play action has a linebacker shook and on skates, that's when you throw that post corner in. That's when you drop one over the top. That's what Zach does well. That's what Zach does well. And this is what I think that we've been waiting for Mike LaFleur to recognize. And now, I guess inadvertently we're lucky that he got injured, right? Because now it gives him the opportunity to say, you know what, it really does work. Let's go ahead and run it. But then it also gives Zach film to watch. Yeah, it gives him film to say, you know what, if this is the concept, when I hear him say this is what I'm looking for. Oh man, look how well it worked. He's got this guy open, he's got that guy open. When we run this, I know what to look for, I know what to recognize, and when it comes time, when it comes time, I'm going to be able to execute. And that's that's the expectation over the course of these next couple of weeks. I don't expect him to be healthy for Buffalo. Just to
no. He probably won't be. But think about the value of Zach Wilson sitting up in the box with Mike LaFleur and seeing the overhead view of how those plays were working out. Now Zach Wilson can see, oh, okay, I see an overhead view. I see a bird's eye view of this. Yeah. Now I just have to focus on my ability to get the ball where it needs to be. Those underneath, he's got to be thinking now, that, you know what, that underneath stuff really works. Now I just got to put the ball in their hands and let them make those plays, not putting it at their feet every time. Totally agree, man. I totally agree.
This is it's going to be something to see. And I said this early in the season when we were making our predictions, Jim, earlier. We were talking about why it is that we thought double digits, was so not far-fetched, right?
Right.
And I kept saying, I'm like, yo, we're going to score an ass of points. That was the reason why, because I recognize what this offense can be like when it's run as it's supposed to be run. We saw,
and I've been getting hit with a bunch of, how you backing off that 11? I've been in like Ryan and Jets Talk 24/7. I've been in their chats and Matt O'Leary's chats and stuff, Green Beans chats.
They remember,
and they do. I've gotten it, and they're like, Jets by Jimmy's backing off that 11 games. I'm like, nah. I never said it was gonna happen. I said this team has the talent to make it happen.
Exactly. All right, CJ, what do you want to do next, bro?
All right, well, we're starting to come up against it a little bit. Jimmy,
I'm quick.
Let's bang out your front office segment to kind of get this going, and then afterwards we got some housekeeping duties, and then I'm gonna take us home. So who do we got in the front office tonight, then, my friend? It's all yours.
This one's gonna be quick, guys. In the front office tonight is Joe Douglas, and I have supported Joe Douglas in a lot of his decisions, but in the front office tonight, kind of an in the spotlight 2.0, if you will, in the front office tonight. Joe Douglas, he's going to get called out here. Joe Douglas is going to get called out here. And it goes back to what we've been talking about all show. Joe Douglas is being called out for a knee-jerk panic move in bringing in Joe Flacco. We lost a 6th-round pick. Now, guys, do you realize that we only have 5 rounds of picks? We don't have a pick in the 6th or 7th round this year. That's a problem for me. And the reason that's a problem for me is because of how well Joe Douglas has drafted the last 2 years in the mid to late rounds. We got a lot of guys that are really under the radar and really producing really well that have come from those undrafted or 4th, 5th, 6th round types. And I think that Joe Douglas, while I believe that throughout the rest of not necessarily throughout this season, because obviously the trade deadline's over, but in the offseason making some determinations on who needs to be traded out, who needs to be let go. I firmly believe that Joe Douglas is going to get some of those late round picks back, but I also am just holding firm on the fact that, as I have said, and everybody knows, I'm on record, I'm on Twitter, I'm on my videos, I'm on several other channels like Green Beans channel, saying that we were good at quarterback from the start. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be bumps in the road. Yes, we're not going to win every game, guys. I never said that we would. I've always said that we're capable of winning double digits. But this move to bring Flacco back was just a misplaced decision by Joe Douglas, in my opinion. Sacrificing that 6th-round pick holds a lot more. It holds a lot more consequences than most people believe. We spent that 6th-round pick. That affects some, like Green Bean loves to talk about comp picks. That affects it. That affects the comp pick equation, and those could be from 3rd, 4th, 5th round. That's a problem. And I think that I love the fact that Mike White and Josh Johnson both have proven that when the chips are down, they can come in and they can win a game. They can manage a game. They can score points. That's the biggest thing. Our quarterback room, from Zach Wilson to Mike White to Josh Johnson, those guys are set in the NFL, in my opinion. And we have every ability to win any of the games that we have coming up. Because remember, we've only played, 2 home games thus far? 3 home games? We have a lot of home games coming up against a lot of teams that are really bottom feeders in the NFL. We have an opportunity to win a lot of games coming up. and our quarterback room has proven that they can do it. Joe Douglas, I love you. You make the swings. I'm incredibly glad that you are our general manager. But hey, on this Flacco thing, you're wrong, brother. You're wrong. What do you guys think?
I'll jump in on this because the reality is that am in lockstep with you with regards to this Joe Flacco thing. I do think it was reactionary. I think it was panic. I think it speaks a lot more to really our inability to recognize what it is that we had in the quarterback room at that time, right? Like we weren't getting that type of production probably because we weren't actually performing that iteration of the offense. And you're very right, Jim. Like part of the reason why we haven't really seen what it is that we need to see is because Mike LaFleur hasn't been willing to pull the trigger on some of it. And yeah, there is some reality to that. There is some truth to that. Yeah, there's also some truth that that Zach wasn't playing well. There is truth to both of those things, and I think that's why this perfect storm of of Mike White or White Lightning or whatever. I like the nicknames. Let me not seem like I hate Mike White. I think it's overblown.
I love him.
I don't think it needed to be what it was. I think Mike understands probably much more than what most other folks are going to say, and that he's not the guy. Yeah, he's going to play well. He can play well. He's not going to be able to outplay Zach. I think he knows that. I'll just be honest with you. I think the organization knew that, or he wouldn't be in the position that he's in right now, right? And it's difficult for us to continue to ride that kind of argument when I just think it's a ridiculous argument on its face. Other than that, though, Jim, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with regards to Douglas, man. Like we've got so much that's necessary coming from him, right? And he's a young guy himself. He's a new GM making mistakes, and we talked about this, at the beginning of last season when he couldn't get it together with the kicker. That was a red flag for me, right? It really was a red flag for me. I think those are things that you solidify quickly because it's much easier to do that than it is to find a franchise quarterback or a stud linebacker. You can find it, you can find somebody that can handle them kicking duties a little different. Anyways, as always, it's one of my favorite spots. What do you think, CJ?
Quick, a couple housekeeping duties that I want to get, and I want to get out of here with us. First things first, I want to remind everybody, don't forget to tune into After Dark tonight on YouTube.com. We will be airing live at 9:15 sharp. I will try and get some links out there. So we definitely going to have a lot of questions on what we're talking about tonight, a little bit more of the uncensored kind. So that being said, Jimmy, I do have to agree with you. I'm a little bit disappointed with the Joe Flacco. Again, I think he was brought in as policy. I think that Joe Douglas will recoup that in another deal or whatever. I just think that for right now, the optics of it kind of look bad, and I understand everybody's angst about it for giving up the draft pick for it, but I really don't think it's going to be anything to be concerned about because I think that Joe Douglas has been so good at piling picks and getting picks on top of picks and stuff like that. That a 6th-round pick for Joe Flacco is just negligible. That being said, again, it does make me feel a little bit comfortable that you do have Mike White and Josh Johnson that can operate the machine. Now we just need to get Zach Wilson on the same page as those two gentlemen, and then I really think that our quarterback room is going to be something special to watch moving forward. Now, I'm going to end that part here. One of the things that I do want to do, I want to give a shout out to Miss Alexis Gepner, who is spearheading a tailgate over in Houston. The website is right down there on the bottom on the banner there. HoustonFans.com. Be sure to go over there. She's spearheading the tailgate for the New York Jets Houston Texans game, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So that is the information right there down on the banner. Tailgate's going to be in the blue lot. If you guys are not friends or haven't messaged Alexis, please message her. She will give you all of the details and let you know exactly what's going on, what you guys need to do, where it's going to be, etc. She's going to have some Jets-inspired cocktails. They're going to have brisket. They're going to have a bunch of great food. Great Jet fans are going to be there. I encourage you watching this broadcast. If you haven't already reached out, please go ahead and reach out. Find out how to be a part of this tremendous tailgate, and let's turn the city of Houston green and white. That's the mission. Let's turn that into a pseudo home game for the Knicks. We need to do. With Miss Alexis Gepner at the helm, I definitely believe that will most definitely happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the episode of Weapons Hot on New York here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I want to thank everyone who is tuning in tonight, everyone who has jumped into the comments. Scott Cleesby, Guy Fisher, Mike Bonet. There are a few other people who chimed in. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope that you enjoyed the conversation. Again, we do plan on keeping the conversation going this evening on YouTube.com with our other show, Weapons Hot After Dark at 9:15. You can catch the show on Twitter at CNC Jets Factor. You can follow the show there. Follow me at JetsFan0523. My partners in crime on the other side of the glass, Mr. Kevin Jackson at Spotty Blackman, and Jimmy the Reaper Jardine at Jets by Jimmy. Weapons page. Be sure to like and subscribe to it. Our content is up there. If you message us, we'll message you right back. We love talking with fans about this football team. Also, leave us some feedback about how we're doing here on Weapons Hot. You think we're doing great? That's awesome. Leave us a message. Let us know. You think we suck and we know nothing about football? Leave us a message. Love to troll back and forth with you. All right. Also, don't forget the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If you haven't gone to the Facebook page, please go over there, like, and subscribe to their content as well. Definitely a place where you can not only consume Weapons Hot, but also a tremendous amount of other shows that feature on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Shout out to the Off the Mat crew, the show that is in front of us, that they are helping us. Shout out to Joshua Silverberg and company over there. They do a tremendous job. Shout out to Errol Marks and Speedy Petey on the Sports Loudmouths. And, of course, the Ryan Hickey Show on Monday mornings, Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. Plus a plethora of other shows. Sports Fantasy Millionaires, gambling shows. You like fantasy football, there's a couple of fantasy football shows over there. It is going to be incredible. So, by all means, again, you want to download the app. That's the best way to have access to those. If you have an Android, go to Google Play. If you have an Apple phone, go to the iOS store, search up WWSRN, download the app, and you'll be able to not only consume Weapons Hot, but all the entire cool lineup of the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Just download the app, people. Come on.
Right? Make it easy.
All right. So, with that, we're going to end tonight's show here. For Jimmy the Reaper Jardine and Kevin, Mr. Spotty Blackman Jackson, I'm your host, CJ the Painkiller DeSimone. Off. We will see you guys when we see you guys. Peace, love, go Jets. We'll catch you guys on YouTube in a little while.
Come through.
It's gonna be fun.